Tonight, multiple charges for an Alberta man after children bait the trap.
It's not safe and it's more dangerous. There's no reward.
The police warning about copying a popular social media ruse. More Air Canada planes roll down runways, seats for some stranded passengers, but what about money?
I think accommodation should be covered as well.
Big tech's big bet. The next frontier in AI on the bridge of your nose.
We're going to need to evolve new social norms around this technology.
The revolution in smart glasses.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. A 12-year-old Alberta boy is safe tonight, and a 37-year-old man faces multiple charges. We are talking about an alleged abduction and an RCMP warning aimed in part at the boy and his friends. Police say the group played a copycat version of an online game called Catch a Predator, luring the man so they could record him meeting the boy, but it did not go as they planned. Erin Collins has more on how this incident played out and the warnings from police.
This stretch of road in Airdrie, Alberta, home to high drama Monday night. Police responding to calls of a 12-year-old boy being abducted near here just before 8. That boy escaping while the car he was in was stopped at a red light. Police giving chase, pursuing the suspect down this busy highway to nearby Calgary.
They were able to track the suspect vehicle to a residence in northwest Calgary, and a male suspect was arrested.
But this story has a twist.
These children actually started conversation with the accused on Snapchat and made arrangements to meet the suspect.
It's not a new idea, luring a potential sexual predator out into the open, trying to catch them in the act.
Coast to coast, Dateline launches more undercover stings.
Get on the ground now!
A trend spawned by this hit TV show.
It's been a wide-known technique, tactic in the States. It's now starting to arrive here. We've come across it a fair bit.
Mounties say this convenience store was central to the sting that unfolded, but didn't provide further details. What they did say was that with no police or even adults involved, it was an extremely dangerous game for kids to be playing.
This is not an avenue to go down. It's not prosecutable, it's not safe, and it's more dangerous. There's no reward.
RCMP say the kids involved are okay. They say the man the boys lured was known to them from past investigations involving minors. The 37-year-old will appear in this Airdrie court Thursday morning to face 9 new charges, including kidnapping and 3 counts of breaching his probation. Erin Collins, CBC News, Airdrie, Alberta.
An Ontario police force is defending its decision to lay charges against a man alleged to have assaulted a home intruder who is now suffering from life-threatening injuries. As Mike Crawley explains, this is raising questions about self-defense and its limits.
It happened in Lindsay, a town in Ontario's Kawartha Lakes region. Police say a man broke into an apartment on this street on Monday around 3 a.m. The apartment's resident woke up and responded with enough force that the intruder was airlifted to hospital in Toronto with what police call life-threatening injuries. The alleged intruder faces 4 charges, including breaking and entering and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. The resident is charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon, and that is prompting strong reaction.
Did everyone hear about the story in Lindsay?
Ontario's premier weighs in.
I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family.
Similar views on Lindsay's main street, not far from where the incident happened.
I think you should be able to use any force necessary to defend your home and your family.
The person should be able to, prevent the guy, because who knows what that perpetrator would have did to him.
It's self-defense, personally. It kind of sucks a bit for him.
The blowback against the charges is so strong that the local police chief issued a statement calling the reaction unjust and inaccurate. While homeowners do have the right to protect themselves and their property, says the chief, the use of force must be reasonable given the circumstances.
Likely the police believe there was excessive force in the circumstances.
This lawyer says Canada's legal system puts limits on self-defense.
There has to be a defensive purpose to the actions. So it can't be for revenge or for believing this person deserves some sort of punishment or anything like that.
Police have not said whether the two men know each other. The man who was living in the apartment has been released. He's to appear in court on the charges, but no date has been set. Adrienne?
So, Mike, can you put some perspective on this for us and talk about other instances in Canada of homeowners facing charges in cases sort of like this one?
Yeah, it has happened as recently as 2023. A man in Milton, just to the west of Toronto, he was charged with murder after he took a gun away from someone during a home invasion. But those charges were dropped about 6 months later. Crown prosecutors said there was no reasonable chance of conviction. And lawyers looking at that case said that it was a clear-cut situation of self-defense.
All right, Mike Crawley in Lindsay, Ontario tonight. Thank you. Tonight, more Air Canada flights are resuming, and the company is promising new support for some affected passengers. As Jennifer Lagrassa explains, alternate transport costs may be covered.
More travelers are back at Air Canada terminals as the airline continues to ramp up service. By Wednesday, the company says around 68% of impacted flights are back on.
We really want to get our customers on their way, and so that is the main focus right now.
Now the company is promising a new option for disrupted travelers. Other than rebooking or getting a refund, the airline might also cover different sorts of transportation, like a bus, ferry, or car rental. The company says coverage will be determined on a case-by-case basis.
We're definitely ready to go back home.
Carla Lapai and her family have been stuck in St. John's for days. They're trying to get back home to Regina. Extra nights in a hotel put her more than $1,000 over budget, costs the airline isn't planning to cover.
For the loyal customers that decided to stay with Air Canada and ride out the disruption, I think accommodation should be covered as well.
The Lapais are just some of the nearly 500,000 customers affected by the strike, which saw the union defy federal back-to-work orders until a tentative deal was reached Tuesday. That deal includes pay increases and compensation for unpaid work on the ground. While the airline's olive branch to passengers is more than what's required under Canada's air passenger protection regulations, some experts say it's still not good enough.
Too little, too late. When you're dealing with tens of thousands of customers at the peak of the leisure travel season, the damage has been done.
Air Canada should be doing more.
Other countries have more traveler protections in place. People flying out of Europe, for example, are covered by different passenger rights and will have more of their costs covered by Air Canada. Some tips for those in this country?
To keep track of every inconvenience, every expense that has been incurred, document it. Escalate your concerns within Air Canada's complaint resolution mechanism.
Air Canada says that it hopes to have all flights back up and running by the end of the week, but it's really taking the situation day by day.
It's interesting hearing you talk because passenger rights have been an issue in this country for a long time.
Yeah, so one consumer rights expert that I spoke with says he really feels like all of the frustration that passengers have felt over the last few days is catching the attention of ministers. Ottawa, more than 2 years ago, had actually tried to change passenger rights protections. That would have really helped in a work stoppage like this for those things like hotel costs, but they weren't implemented, and it's really unclear when they will be.
Okay, well, we will all stay on it. Jennifer Lagrassa, thank you.
Thanks.
Canada's defense minister says there's no place for hateful conduct and extremism in the Canadian Armed Forces. This comes after 5 soldiers were suspended over a video showing a group of people giving Nazi salutes. Marina von Stackelberg takes it from here.
Canadian military members accused of hateful conduct. This week, the Army announced it's investigating a group of Quebec soldiers caught on video doing Nazi salutes. The defense minister releasing a statement. The Canadian Army acted swiftly, and the matter has been referred to the military police, and a disciplinary investigation is underway. Just last month, 2 active armed forces members were arrested on terrorism charges. They're accused of hatching a plot to take over land near Quebec City. They had stockpiled an arsenal of highly restricted firearms. military personnel involved in extremist activities.
A lot of organizations deal with that kind of problem. It's just that the military is unique in the sense that those people have access to weapons.
This researcher in Canadian military culture says extremism within the Army isn't new. It's hard to know if it's getting worse or just being reported more often.
It's a complicated issue. I think that painting the military as a breeding ground for extremists and right-wing terrorists would be a step too far. But we need to understand that sometimes the military can attract this type of people.
Experts say some extremists view the Army, with its often authoritarian and hyper-masculine culture, as the ideal vision of society. And its culture of brotherhood means many members may still be too scared to report one another.
We just don't have a lot of transparency or publicly available information that really goes into the nature and scale of the problem in the Canadian Armed Forces.
The Army has begun internally tracking cases of hate and racism. Last year, it reported 54 cases, double from the year before. But experts say it is notable that the military is being proactive and sharing some of the details of those incidents. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Israel's military says it has begun the first steps of a planned operation to take over Gaza City. The IDF claims troops are already circling the city's outskirts and that this follows a clash this morning in Khan Yunis with suspected Hamas fighters who emerged from a tunnel to fire on soldiers. Israel bolstered its forces by calling up to 60,000 reservists. That news comes the same day Israel gave final approval for a controversial settlement project that would effectively cut the West Bank in two. As senior international correspondent Margaret Evans tells us from the occupied West Bank, critics say the E1 plan could destroy hopes for a future Palestinian state.
Male Adumim rises out of the desert hills east of Jerusalem like a towering fortress. Already one of the largest Jewish settlements in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, now on course to get even bigger. The mayor of Male Adumim, Guy Yefrak, says expanding the settlement towards Jerusalem is strategic. I hope one day there will be an arrangement, he says, that Male Adumim will be a part of Jerusalem and the State of Israel. The Israeli cabinet minister and settler leader pushing the expansion, Bezalel Smotrich, is on the record saying it will bury the idea of a Palestinian state.
So many people living here.
And many Palestinians fear he's right.
Nobody cares about us. Nobody asking about us.
Anas Samir and his staff are packing up his store. He's one of several Palestinian shopkeepers in the town of Al-Izariya, adjacent to the E1 area, given notice that Israel plans to enforce old demolition orders. Part of the town expected to lose a slice to new roads serving the expansion.
Asking for help from anybody can stop this building and this road.
The E1 plan has been on the books for decades, but the international community has repeatedly convinced Israel to shelve it until now, when there's a much more favorable U.S. president in the White House. Rauf al-Rafai says the Smotrich plan will cause huge disruption to Palestinians already pinned down by Israeli checkpoints, army incursions, and private roads for settlers.
If he succeeds to make this area for Ma'ale Adumim, he will surround all Jerusalem.
Cutting off the West Bank, he says, from occupied East Jerusalem, which Palestinians hope will one day be the capital of a Palestinian state. The mayor of Ma'ale Adumim insists the E1 expansion won't stop Palestinians traveling from the north of the West Bank to the south. Special roads will allow them to go around it. Israel calls them fabric of life roads. The Palestinians call them segregation roads. Margaret Evans, CBC News, in the occupied West Bank.
Russian officials say they're in no hurry to organize a summit between Presidents Putin and Zelensky. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says lower-level talks need to come first to sort out the thorny issue of security guarantees for Ukraine. Chris Brown is watching from London.
Donald Trump has turned traditional diplomacy on its head, with leaders meeting first and the details sorted out later.
It's an honor.
It may be effective in real estate, but whether his approach can resolve the Ukraine war
Or security guarantees.
faces deep skepticism, especially in Ukraine.
Classic diplomacy is all about preparation work, and summit as a result of year and a half of preparation work. Now we see no preparation whatsoever and just meetings at the highest level.
Trump is trying to broker a summit between Vladimir Zelensky and Vladimir Putin, two men who despise each other. Their only in-person meeting in Paris in 2019 did nothing to prevent Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine 3 years later. The only commitment Russia's foreign minister offered Wednesday was a meeting, not between presidents, but higher-level officials. Ukrainians see that as another stalling tactic and have little faith anyway. There must be guarantees of peace, so Russia does not have the opportunity to attack and kill our people, he said. But while Trump says he believes Putin wants peace,
Putin muss jetzt liefern.
German officials are among the Europeans demanding Putin back that up with deeds, like an immediate ceasefire, which he's rejected. Indeed, Russia is continuing to bomb Ukrainian cities and is pushing ahead with grinding attacks on the ground. In the past, the only security guarantees that Russia has supported for Ukraine involve the United Nations, meaning Russia could veto any military assistance for Ukraine should Russia attack again in the future, which underscores just how vast the diplomatic gaps are. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
As he pushes for peace in Ukraine, back at home, Donald Trump takes aim at a national institution.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
Why he's ordering a review of Smithsonian National Museums next. Wildfires are now burning through parts of Canada not used to the flames.
It's a national issue in terms of fires. It's becoming more of a national issue in terms of structures being lost.
What that could mean for higher insurance rates. And a community comes together to give a dying dog one last snow day.
There was something really magical about seeing him just enjoying what he loved the most.
We're back in 2. Beaches from Florida to New England are closed as a strengthening Hurricane Erin creeps along the Atlantic coast.
We are anticipating coastal flooding from massive waves, tropical storm force winds, and tidal and storm surge for much of the state's shoreline.
The Category 2 storm is expected to intensify into a major hurricane overnight. While Erin is unlikely to make landfall before heading further out to sea, officials expect its large swells could cut off roads to some coastal villages and whip up some life-threatening currents. And the hurricane could complicate the fight against wildfires in Atlantic Canada.
If winds pick up to an extent where it's deemed unsafe, then we will have to pull crews back.
Officials in Nova Scotia say they are working to protect homes from the storm and the province's largest wildfire. It remains out of control, but it hasn't grown in the last 2 days. And in Newfoundland, crews are also making progress. The flames of the Paddy's Pond fire near St. John's are now being contained. Fire officials say that is freeing up resources to help fight 2 other wildfires in the province that are deemed out of control. Now, over 200 structures were destroyed by one of those fires in Newfoundland, and many more are still at risk. This is becoming the new reality for Atlantic Canada, and it's affecting insurance coverage. As Nicholas Seguin shows us, that could mean higher costs for homeowners.
Tricia Murray remembers the day her home was reduced to rubble.
We could see embers falling, we could see ash falling. The pine needles were hitting our house. It sounded like hail.
151 homes were destroyed when the 2023 Upper Tantallon wildfire tore through subdivisions just outside of Halifax.
We were traumatized from the evacuation itself. We were traumatized afterwards by the fact that we lost everything.
Murray says the insurance process took hundreds of hours, and it was 20 months before her home was rebuilt. It's a reality more people across Atlantic Canada are facing as wildfires push closer to communities.
They're bigger, they're larger, they're much harder to control.
When Paul Kovacs analyzed insured loss data, he found that homes damaged by wildfires in Canada were concentrated in Alberta and BC for decades until 2023. But this fire season is different.
It's a national issue in terms of fires. It's becoming more of a national issue in terms of structures being lost.
Besides being Canada's second worst season on record, the majority of property destruction is happening across the prairies and in Atlantic Canada. That's a challenge for homeowners and insurers.
They all need to make decisions based on their losses for how they can serve their customers going forward.
And if insurance companies are getting more claims and paying out more losses, higher premiums could follow.
Insurance companies will think about, is the price they're charging the right price for the risk?
One more thing for homeowners like Murray to worry about as wildfires become the new normal. Nicola Sagan, CBC News, Halifax.
Donald Trump has now ordered a review of Smithsonian museum exhibits.
We want the museums to treat our country fairly.
What he says needs to change and why that is raising some eyebrows.
It's appalling to me, absolutely appalling.
And why big tech is betting the next big thing will be AI glasses.
So why are people buying this?
You're able to record video and still experience what you're looking at.
From the potential to the privacy concerns, The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping our world. Next. The Trump administration is imposing sanctions on a Canadian who sits as a judge on the International Criminal Court. It is the latest move in a U.S. pressure campaign against the court. The State Department says Judge Kimberly Prost is being targeted for authorizing an investigation into American personnel in Afghanistan. She and her fellow sanctioned colleagues have also been involved in cases linked to Israel and the U.S. Any property or interests they have in the U.S. will be frozen. The court calls the sanctions a flagrant attack on the institution. Well, the Smithsonian is the latest high-profile U.S. cultural institution drawing President Donald Trump's attention. He calls the museums out of control and woke. Cameron McIntosh got some other opinions.
We came because he's interested in coins.
Out with her grandsons at the Smithsonian's American History Museum, Emily Fox says the American story, good and bad, is well told here.
I think they try very, very, very hard to have diversity, to have equity, and to have inclusiveness, and that's all part of what we need to have a full story.
U.S. President Donald Trump isn't so sure.
We want the museums to treat our country fairly.
Ordering a review of 8 of the Smithsonian's museums.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
It comes as many universities and federal agencies have given in to pressure from Trump to abandon content and policies referring to diversity, equity, and inclusion, leading to fears the Smithsonian's tellings of slavery, civil rights, wars, politics, and natural history will be sanitized or politicized.
It's appalling to me, absolutely appalling.
This expert in museum ethics says it sends a chilling message to museums.
They're already responding, I'm sure, by anticipating potential censorship and self-censoring.
Drew says he's here to see Old Glory. He agrees with eliminating what the president calls wokeness. As for his previous Smithsonian visits,
have you seen anything like that?
You know, to be honest, no. But if he feels that there's some woke things in there, then I feel like he has the right to do that.
Others rather Trump leave America's story to experts.
If you really want to know the truth, there's a display of a beautiful display of the First Lady and Donald Trump in there as well. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
On the museum itself, words dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge from America's 6th president. Everything behind that inscription now subject to review by the 47th president. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Washington.
Now, let's break down the news shaping our world. As Trump's global tariff threats take shape, Canada is diversifying its energy exports, exploring clean energy and new markets.
Canada can be the #1 exporter of LNG to Asia.
We'll break down the push to reduce dependency on the U.S. market. But first,
right now, you should be seeing exactly what I'm seeing.
AI-enabled smart glasses, big tech's newest frontier for wearable devices.
We're going to need to evolve new social norms around this technology.
Gadgets designed to be subtle but presenting real privacy concerns for users and those around them. Nora Young tells us tech giants are betting on these interactive lenses to shape how you view the world, but it's a spectrum ranging from big possibilities to potential problems.
Hey Meta, what's this?
This piece is called Comedian by Mauricio Cano.
Smart glasses are back on people's faces. Tech giants like Meta are betting they're the next big thing in AI.
I think that personal devices like glasses that can see what we see, hear what we hear, and interact with us throughout the day are going to become our main computing devices.
On their recent earnings call, Meta touted the success of their Ray-Ban smart glasses, tying them to their future AI hopes, and they have newer models in the works. But they're not the only ones getting into the glasses game.
Hey everyone! Right now, you should be seeing exactly what I'm seeing through the lens of my Android XR glasses.
Google recently demoed glasses with Gemini AI. Apple is rumored to be releasing AI-enabled glasses down the road. Chinese company Xiaomi just released its first AI glasses, available for now on mainland China.
We've spent 11 years and invested more than $3 billion in building augmented reality glasses.
And Snap, the company behind Snapchat, announced Specs, AI and augmented reality glasses that'll arrive next year. So why AI glasses? Because there's intense competition for AI supremacy now. And as people get used to using ChatGPT, Gemini, and other AI tools, the pitch is many of us will want an AI assistant embedded in our glasses.
The progress in AI is opening up new use cases for these glasses. And so it makes it more interesting to have one more device.
So a future of AI with us throughout the day on our wearable devices. But how about right now? Would you buy them? Meta's glasses are already available, so I met with optician and store owner Dennis Lim Aken to talk about the market for these things. So why are people buying this?
Well, what's intriguing to most people is that you're able to record video and still experience what you're looking at instead of looking at something through your phone.
Users typically use smart glasses to listen to music without earbuds, access the AI function, or take videos hands-free. Do people ever feel uncomfortable with hey, are you videoing me, or is there ever any awkwardness in that way?
I don't think so. Maybe if you're doing something weird, but other than that, not really. Nobody's really said anything. Sometimes I feel like people don't even notice it too because it just looks like a pair of glasses.
Of course, your latest smartphone can do a lot of what these glasses can do. It's mostly a matter of convenience. But it does point towards a future of wearable AI tech like these glasses that's more integrated into our daily lives.
If you have agents that have access to your visual world, not just your digital world, you're opening up new ability for the agents to be proactive about finding ways to help you. So it's going to be able to build an understanding of your life, and that is much richer by being part of your physical life, not just your digital life.
But of course, the more integrated it may be in future, the more data about you need to access. For example, your calendar, your contacts.
Ideally, we provide a lot of control for the users to be able to make those choices. The tricky part is right now, the interface to a lot of these controls is pretty complicated. So if we think about social media platforms, there are lots of ways to customize our experience, and yet very few people take the time to go in their settings.
When I took the glasses out for a spin, I could see some convenient use cases, but some situations needed a workaround. Hey Meta, what's the best way to get to Roy Thompson Hall?
The Roy Thompson Hall is around 120 meters away. That's about a 2-minute walk.
It can tell me how far away it is and how long it'll take to get there, but it can't help with directions. Turn-by-turn navigation requires using a mapping application and playing the directions through the glasses speakers. Or if you're partially sighted, you can see this piece of equipment here, but you can't read the plaque about it, you can get Meta to do that for you. Hey Meta, read this sign aloud.
Steenbeck ST 1900, C1975, 16mm flatbed film viewer.
But of course, you're relying on today's AI models to be consistently accurate, which they currently aren't. Major tech companies have worked on virtual reality headsets, augmented reality, and glasses for years. So this isn't coming out of nowhere, but we're also in the midst of a lot of overinflated language about AI from tech companies. Sam Altman recently bragged that OpenAI's latest GPT model would have PhD-level expert abilities. Mark Zuckerberg tied the use of Meta glasses to a future of personal superintelligence. So how much of this is hype?
When you look at Meta, the two things that they're doing is they have all of our personalized data, right? They have our network graph through Facebook and Instagram. And they've been spending, I think it's over $60 billion that they've spent trying to make the metaverse and heads-up displays work. So they've got those goggles or the glasses, and they're hoping that they can use them for something. So it doesn't answer the question of, do you actually have a vision here?
So glasses aren't the only innovation being hyped. Observers like Karpf argue tech companies are burning through cash to convince investors AI will make money in the future.
All of these products are money furnaces that, because they look like the future and feel like the future, the companies that are spending the most money on the money furnace are able to raise more money to put into the furnace.
Tap the touchpad.
Beyond the hype, questions remain about whether consumers will bite. Remember the flop that was Google Glass? Head-mounted displays, for instance, are used in specific applications like gaming, but haven't found broad acceptance. And then there are the ethical and privacy questions. People already take sneaky photos with their phones. What about when it's a pair of glasses with just a tiny light to show the camera's working and to let you live stream? The FBI said the suspect in the New Year's Day truck attack on New Orleans wore Meta glasses to survey the scene beforehand. And during the recent trial of hockey players in London, the judge temporarily barred a man from attending because he was wearing smart glasses in the courtroom where taking footage isn't permitted.
We're starting to see the first cases of people, taking the glasses, students taking the glasses into an exam room and cheating during their exam with that when, people are not necessarily aware of those possibilities.
And then there's the personal data piece. Meta recently changed their glasses policy. Now what you say when you're interacting with Meta AI can be stored and used to help improve their AI systems.
Right now, there's a difficult transition period because people don't necessarily understand the capabilities. We're going to need to evolve new social norms around this technology.
If all these glasses take off, it's going to be convenient, but complicated.
Now, as Nora mentioned, many tech giants are banking on AI, and that hype is driving the stock market. But some industry players are calling this an AI bubble, and the Nasdaq posted back-to-back losses as tech stocks dipped again today. When we come back, the heated debate over liquefied natural gas.
Canada can be the #1 exporter of LNG to Asia.
It's simply too much of a risk.
The push to expand Canadian exports. Next. Global demand is growing for liquefied natural gas, and Canada is racing to become a major supplier, but some fear that carries risk for both the climate and communities.
There are some projects that are sustainable and some projects that aren't.
Back in the spring, Lindsay Duncombe visited the country's first large-scale LNG export facility in BC as Canada moved to unlock its LNG potential. But along the route, some are raising concerns.
Burning off British Columbia's north coast, hope that Canada's largest private infrastructure project ever is the first step in an energy economy that doesn't rely on the United States.
Canada can be the #1 exporter of LNG to Asia.
I will guarantee decisions on major projects within a maximum of 1 year.
That push, though, is sparking fear. worries that industry could move too fast, putting the climate and communities at risk.
It's about ensuring that not every company gets a yes.
Earlier this month, the Greek tanker Roxana made its way through the Douglas Channel to Kitimat. People lined up to watch the arrival. Among them,
and let me tell you, it was a big moment for me as a Canadian.
Teresa Waddington, a vice president with LNG Canada.
That carrier represents a huge amount of work and a huge milestone in our project, and it gets us ready for that really the next big milestone, which will be our first export cargo sometime in the middle of 25.
The tanker is delivering liquefied natural gas, or LNG. It will be used to test all the systems at Canada's first ever LNG export terminal.
A generational opportunity, not just for British Columbia, but for all of Canada.
A joint venture of 5 global energy companies, built with the support of successive governments and First Nations. When testing is done, ships will take LNG the other way, exporting Canadian LNG to markets in Asia for the very first time, generating hundreds of millions of dollars every year.
And it is going to diversify Canada's energy export market, allowing us to reach different sales locations for our natural gas. Certainly, Canadian gas offers a whole new opportunity.
Natural gas is a fossil fuel, mostly methane. It's invisible, lighter than air, often extracted through a controversial process called fracking. Water and sand are pushed deep into the earth, breaking up rock, releasing the gas to be transported by pipeline. Terminals like the one at Kitimat take that gas, cool it, and ship it. Burning LNG causes fewer emissions than coal or oil, but it takes a lot of energy to produce.
As big as this terminal is, there are plans to expand. Phase 2 would double the capacity. That's just one of many projects governments and industry want to see built, and fast.
In British Columbia alone, there are at least 5 potential LNG projects at various stages of approval. The Conservatives are all in on LNG.
We have enormous advantages over the Americans, the Qataris, and countless others.
From the Liberals, promises of expansion too.
Projects that diversify our export markets so we rely less on the United States.
Bay Street's excited.
I believe Canada can be the #1 exporter of LNG to Asia.
Just listen to TC Energy CEO Francois Poirier. His company built the pipeline that sends gas to LNG Canada.
Canada is energy rich and has the potential to be an energy superpower.
Okay, let's get as many people in as we can.
There's even buzz about Canadian LNG at the London Stock Exchange in England.
Everybody turn sideways. Got you good?
That's where we met Crystal Smith. She's chief of the Haisla Nation, the nation that partnered with corporations to build that first export terminal in Kitimat.
It was a long process to be able to build that relationship to the point we currently have right now. But we saw an opportunity.
She's speaking on a panel about Cedar LNG, the nation's own project. The floating facility will use gas from the same pipeline as LNG Canada.
We are the largest majority Indigenous-owned project of its kind, I believe, in the world.
Smith says the trade war is creating opportunity.
Although it's not a great scenario for Canadians to be experiencing, it is an opportunity for Canadians to realize exactly the wealth that we have in our natural resources and to be able to capitalize on them.
Talking about the project here lets her challenge the idea that Indigenous communities oppose big energy projects.
I think there is a lot of misconception when it comes to any type of industrial project or any type of development where there's Indigenous opposition. Unfortunately, we're all grouped into one perception, which isn't the case.
This is sovereign Wet'suwet'en land. You are trespassing.
This, though, may be what many remember when they think of natural gas projects in Canada. blockades, arrests,
I can't imagine anywhere else in the world where they built something like this.
all in opposition to this. LNG Canada gets its gas from the Coastal GasLink pipeline, 670 kilometers long. The massive project had the support of elected First Nations leaders, but not the hereditary leadership of the Wet'suwet'en. Its resistance to the pipeline sparked protests across Canada. The RCMP's response prompted international condemnation.
So the Coastal GasLink pipeline, we learned that companies will do whatever it takes. They will bring in militarized police and they will remove Indigenous people from their lands.
Tara Marsden is the sustainability director for the Gitnal Hereditary Chiefs.
Who can we rely on to protect our territories except for ourselves?
She works with a group of young people opposed to a new LNG pipeline in their traditional territory.
And so we put it on this big sign.
They worry the project will harm salmon habitat and accelerate climate change.
In 2025, facing a climate crisis and facing a lot of cumulative impacts from development, it's simply too much of a risk.
They oppose the Prince Rupert gas transmission line. It would run 800 kilometers to a planned terminal on a coastal island. The project has the support of the Niska, a neighboring nation, partnering with American energy company Western LNG.
So this isn't about getting out from under the thumb of the Americans.
She worries about the push to move fast on LNG, concerned that the trade war will sideline environmental concerns.
It's about ensuring that not every company gets a yes, because just because a company wants to do something, it doesn't mean all the communities have to get on board. There are some projects that are sustainable and some projects that aren't.
LNG Canada says it's proud of the efforts it took to make Canada's first export terminal sustainable and accepted by the community.
When you hear that there's this desire to build LNG infrastructure quickly, can you do that quickly at the same time as building those relationships you talk about?
That's a really difficult question to answer, and I'd say that it depends. But just like a relationship, I can't tell you if the right time before you marry someone is 2 years of dating or 2 months of dating.
The accelerated push to export LNG will put communities and the country on a speed date with industry, a relationship that could prove volatile, lucrative, or both.
Now, in June, LNG Canada exported its first shipment of liquefied natural gas from its Kitimat, British Columbia facility. The plant is expected to ship around 14 million tons a year. Up next, that beauty is Mack, the Bernese mountain dog, and he's taking his final roll in the snow on a hot summer day.
He was really happy to be in it again, and that just it was bittersweet.
How one community made sure Mack got to live his dream one last time in our moment. That is Mack, and that is a bittersweet memory for his owner. The 12-year-old Bernese mountain dog in his final moments enjoying one of his favorite things, just laying on a patch of snow. So that photo was taken just last week in Ontario, in the middle of a heat wave, and it all happened because a community rallied around Mack's owner who just wanted to give him one last special day. And tonight, that's our moment.
He was really happy to be in it again, and that just it was bittersweet. I always hoped that I'd be able to give him snow for his last day. Having to say goodbye to him in the middle of the summer during a heat wave was really difficult. I put up a post on Facebook just asking for advice. It just blew up. It was kind of indescribable, the feeling. Like I was floored. We went to the vet, we let him pick where he was gonna lay down, and then we dumped the snow out, and then he saw it, and then he was so happy. It brought him peace. Like he was noticeably more calm. His favorite thing was playing in the snow. There was something really magical about seeing him just enjoying what he loved the most. I'm so happy to give it to him, but I'm so devastated that it's the last time. There's something to be said for being supported by a community of people who really want to stand you up when you just feel like you need to fall down. He was the sweetest, and he was absolutely everything to me.
Oof, that's lovely and really hard. And I bet you're wondering where the snow come from. So Amanda says that when she reached out to people, immediately they started saying, hey, the Zamboni's been to this arena. There's some snow over here. We can help you get some from over there. Whole bunch of strangers, whole bunch of people rallying together to give her a hand and to give Mack his moment. For everyone here at the National, thank you for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.